That hat wasn't Jungkook's choice? If so, who is forcing it? And why is Taehyung suddenly talking? Is HYBE hiding something? This fact is too big to ignore, and the truth can change everything. That hat wasn't Jungkook's choice. Taehyung said there was visual pressure from HYBE stylist, but why are they silent? No one was really prepared for the storm after that one little photo went viral. A hat. One sentence written on it. A neutral expression from Jungkook, who probably didn't expect that the world would change in a matter of seconds because of a fashion style. But the most surprising question arises later. Was the hat really his choice? Or is Jungkook a victim of a system bigger, colder, and more silent than we imagined? Amid the eerie silence from HYBE, as the world demanded clarification, as Jungkook's name fueled netizens' ire, one voice finally broke. The voice that came not from the manager, not from the agency, not from the lawyer, but from Taehyung. And his remarks were not just offensive, they were sarcastic. Pointing. Shook. That styling, sometimes it's not our whim. There's pressure. And sometimes we don't even know what to answer. The speech appeared in a short interview, almost missed by many media outlets. But not by the army. Not by those who love Jungkook wholeheartedly. Not by those who know that when Taehyung speaks, there is always something deeper than words. What does that mean? Pressure? From who? For whom? And why shut up? As the Make Tokyo Great Again hat came under global scrutiny as it grazed sensitive political and historical issues in Asia, the reaction to Jungkook turned from love to criticism, even hatred. But now, with one sentence from Taehyung, it's all turned upside down. Jungkook is no longer seen as the perpetrator, but the victim. Victim of who? Let's step back a little. Backstage. Into a dressing room filled with costumes, accessories, and HYBE stylists who are known perfectionists. There is a long-standing rumor that once stuck out among the Korean entertainment industry that for certain appearances, idols do not have much of a say. All curated. It was all planned. Everything is predetermined. For the sake of aesthetics, for the sake of branding, for the sake of image. Jungkook is known to be always obedient, not demanding, not the type who will reject anything frontally. In this situation, it makes sense that it's likely he's just wearing the hat as part of a visual instruction. Unconscious. Don't know. Or even not having time to read the writing. Then when the media storm began to strike, HYBE, in an unusual move, chose silence. There is no clarification, no statement, no defense, not even an apology. Jungkook is left to fend for himself amid turbulent public opinion. And that's starting to make the army angry. Why are you guys silent? If Jungkook doesn't choose that hat, speak up. If she's just following the stylist's instructions, say so. Finally, Taehyung spoke up, but not just to defend. The sentence is like sarcasm. Insinuation for the system. Allusions to management. Satire for those who choose to let Jungkook be dragged down the storm alone. Sometimes, if you knew who chose our clothes, you wouldn't be angry with us. One sentence. But it felt like a hard slap to HYBE's face. Surprisingly, after that statement, the mood in HYBE's internals changed. Several scheduled interviews were cancelled. Jungkook's manager was reportedly on leave for 2 weeks. Even the stylist on duty on the day of the photo shoot deleted her entire social media. What are they hiding? Why so panic? And what made the first stand out even more was the appearance of a photo uploaded by Fanze photo behind the scenes when Jungkook appears wearing a jacket while holding a hat that still has a price tag hanging below it. The hat is brand new, meaning not private property. Not brought by myself. This hint further reinforces the suspicion that the hat was provided by the stylist. However, HYBE chose to remain silent. Even as many media outlets began to quip at their unethical decision to let Jungkook weather the storm alone, not a single company representative spoke up, and most emotional of all was a short video from Jungkook's live a few days after the incident. With slightly puffy eyes, a hoarse voice, and awkward body language, he simply said, "Sorry if I disappointed you. I should have been more careful." He didn't say, "I chose that hat." He didn't say, "I know what that means." He just apologized. And that's enough to make millions of soldiers cry. But for some, those sentences are signs that Jungkook doesn't fully know. not fully aware, or not fully empowered. And if that's true, then who's to blame? Now the question is getting bigger. The more stifling. Why did HYBE let an idol as big as Jungkook shield her from a visual glitch that didn't come from him? Is this a form of protection or sacrifice? Is HYBE afraid of something bigger than a simple clarification? Are they protecting someone behind the scenes? And in the midst of all this, why does only Taehyung dare to speak? Does he know more? Is this a signal that there is a conflict within BTS itself against their management decisions? Or is this the beginning of a silent resistance that has been stifled for so long? Sometimes we just shut up because we don't know how to explain everything. The words were remembered by fans. Taehyung's words seemed to come from a hidden wound chamber, from undistributed pressure, from exhaustion to a visual puppet in the hands of the industry. It's not just about the hat. It's about the system, about power, about control, and about one question that remains unanswered. If Jungkook was just a victim, who did it? And why to this day, no one speaks? If there really is a repressive system, who created it? And why did they choose silence when one of their greatest artists was humiliated before the world? These questions continue to resonate, not only in the ARMY community, but are also beginning to be ogled by entertainment industry observers. The world of K-pop, which has been known to be sparkling and disciplined, is starting to reveal a dark side that has not been seen. Fake smiles that are forced, appearances that are determined without personal approval, to clothing choices that can sacrifice an artist's reputation in just seconds. After Taehyung's cryptic remarks start to shake things up, another snippet of an old interview comes out, which was previously taken for granted, but is now starting to feel terrible. In the interview, a former stylist who has worked with major K-pop artists said, "Often, we are given special directions from above. We can't just choose clothes because of trends. There are narratives, there are messages, there are even covert sponsors. And the idols? They must obey." This narrative re-raises the possibility that the controversial hat Jungkook wore was not just an ordinary stylist's choice, but a tool. Either a promotional tool, a provocation tool, or a public reaction test tool. But why should Jungkook be a pawn? Is it because he is the most beloved? Or is it precisely because of that, because of his great love, he was made a shield by the system? Meanwhile, the mood within the BTS fandom changed drastically. Some began calling for a boycott of HYBE's products, not out of hatred for Jungkook, but out of disillusionment with how the agency treated him. HYBE's social media page flooded with demanding comments. "If Jungkook is not wrong, tell him. Don't leave your golden boy like this. We can't love you if you hurt him." Hashtags like #Justice for Jungkook and #Protect Our Idols started trending in different countries. In Japan, even some fans staged a small action in front of the HYBE agency branch office to demand an official statement. This action was captured in a video that went viral, and to his surprise, one of the fans burst into tears saying, "If you love him, talk to him. Don't let him apologize for mistakes he didn't make." What made the situation even more heated was when Jungkook disappeared from some public schedules. He hasn't been seen for a few days. And when he finally appeared in a short live, his face looked even thinner. His eyes weren't as bright as usual. He looked agitated, although he tried to hide it behind a tired smile. "I end that live." One short sentence from Jungkook is back in the spotlight. "I want to be honest, but sometimes I wonder what to say." That sentence, for some fans, was a wordless confession, a soft, restrained scream, another signal that he is helpless, that something bigger is locking him up, and that silence is not a free choice but orders. Taehyung, on the other hand, respreads the code, this time through social media. In a short story, he uploaded a picture of a shadow of a person standing in the middle of a searchlight with a small caption underneath. "Who decides what you wear?" It wasn't just the ARMY that reacted. The media began to bite. Article titles appear. Taehyung again hints. What's behind HYBE's silence? Jungkook left alone? Why is there no official clarification? Is there really a power play behind idol styling? And behind all that, Rumors that some BTS members were actually arguing with management about how Jungkook was being treated began to leak to the public. Reportedly, RM even contacted the company's PR department to ask for an internal explanation, but his request was not formally followed up. What is heartbreaking is how Jungkook himself seemed to bear it all alone. ARMY who knew him knew. He wasn't the type to blame others. He prefers silence, taking upon himself a sense of guilt, although it is not his fault. But this time all too big, too painful, too unfair, and the public started asking, if you can make the whole world love Jungkook, why can't you protect him from mistakes too? What would happen if Jungkook, for the first time, refused to be silent? What would be destroyed if he spoke whole, honest, and unfiltered? This is not just a speculative question. This is the real fear behind the huge tables of the HYBE boardroom, where decisions worth billions of won are determined. They know one thing for sure. If Jungkook chooses to speak, they will no longer be able to hide. During this time, Jungkook was known as the Golden Magne, the perfect face, hardworking, and loyal. He never divulged company secrets. He never blamed anyone, even when he was hurt. It was a star formed by HYBE's hands, but also became larger than the enterprise itself. That is why, if one day Jungkook decides to speak out about what is really going on behind that hat, HYBE will tremble. Imagine this, a YouTube live, unscripted, unattended. Jungkook sat down in his room and said, "I don't know what's written on that hat. I never chose for myself. I only wear what is prepared for me, as usual." That sentence alone can dismantle the system that has been hidden behind the smiles of idols, can open the veil that styling is not self-expression, but an industrial tool, and that idols don't always have power over their own bodies, even over what they wear. What happened next? Sponsors will withdraw. Public confidence in HYBE's integrity will plummet. Stocks could falter, and the important names behind the management will start to be hunted down. Not only by the media, but also by the investors, the fans, maybe even by fellow artists. That's why HYBE chose an old strategy that's been proven to work: silence. Because when they don't speak, they're not to blame either. When they do not explain, they do not give a loophole to be refuted. But that gap has now opened up on its own. Not from the manager's mouth, not from the PR team, but from the one person they shouldn't ignore, Taehyung. And Taehyung seems to know that he is playing with fire. Some Korean media outlets began speculating that Taehyung's recent statements and gestures did not come out of nowhere, but rather as a form of deep frustration with how management treated the BTS members after the formation of sublabels and various commercial visual pressures. Insider in the world of fashion idol even said, for more than a decade, BTS has worn a variety of outfits dictated by sponsors or parties who wanted to insert a message through style. They cannot always refuse, even if they do not agree. However, the pressure on Jungkook did not only come from outside. Fans also, unknowingly, have created another huge pressure. Jungkook is considered perfect. Too perfect. Even as he apologized for the hat, some fans still demanded clarity. We believe in you, but we also need to know. Don't shut up. Just tell me, is that your choice or not? But can he? Is Jungkook free to speak? Behind the multi-million-dollar contract, there are dozens of pages of binding NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. There is a clause that states that artists cannot disclose internal details of production, styling, and management without official permission. Even if the intention is to clear things up, the question changes. Is Jungkook not talking because he doesn't want to? Or because he was not allowed? Then what if he breaks the rules? According to some former staff, the risks can be enormous. Penalties, income deductions, even termination of contracts. But on the other hand, Jungkook's power is now so great. It's no longer just part of a system. It's the brand itself. The world listens to what he says. So if he really decides to ignore the terms, who can stop him? And HYBE knows that. Then, behind their silence, lies a deep concern. A fear that they could only quell with close surveillance, internal negotiations, and perhaps an attempt to drown Jungkook out from within. However, that courage can grow out of pain. And Jungkook is now going through a phase he's never been through before. humiliated for something that wasn't his fault, defended by his best friend, and abandoned by those who are supposed to protect him. If that doesn't change a person, then what does? While the public waited for clarification,